Welcome back, my dear students. So we have come very far. We have a lot of different posts here. We're able to create posts, read, update them, and delete them. And we are even able to create a bunch of data whenever we want. That's great. Now, if we go to homepage, we see something here that we don't have any dynamic data here yet. We need to come here and play around with this. But before we do that, what I would like to do is show you guys how to upload files, just in case the user wants to, I don't know, have an image for their post, or maybe you want to create a profile of a user later on, and you want to upload a picture of that user. All right, so I want to create that functionality. So that's what I want to start on this. So for that, it's going to be great. It's going to be a great lesson for you. And you're going to learn a whole bunch of little cool things here. For that, if you guessed that we have to use a module, you guessed right, we do. So I'm gonna there are a bunch of modules that can help us with this. I'm going to just use a very simple one called, what is the name of this? Express file upload. Okay, like this, file upload. Okay, it's just very simple to use. And I want to create, let's create an images. Well, we have uploads here, that's fine. Let's const and let's call it upload, and let's require it. Express file upload like this. And now, excuse me. Let's see where is the best place to put this. We got our database here. We are creating a static. We have our helpers here together with this body parser. I think it's good to have it here before parsing the data. So app use, very simple, upload like this. That's it. And now this is ready. Now this is going to add a files property into the request. Remember that every time we do this, it adds something to the request, right? So now we need to go to our routes and start playing around with it. Routes and then posts. Okay, but before we do that, we need to edit our form, okay, to receive that file upload. So we are going to do that in the next lecture, guys. Thank you so much, and I see you then. Bye-bye. Welcome back, my dear students. So we are about to learn how to upload files using Node.js. Pretty cool stuff, right? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to the create admin post create form, and we need to add this there. So before status, I'm just going to add another form group here. I'm just going to copy this one. I'm being lazy right now. And let's just say this one is for file, and this would be an input type file or something like that. Okay. Name file, just like that. Form control. I think Bootstrap 4 has another class for this. So let's see how that looks. Let's come back here. Oops. Let's refresh. Oop, it's crashing. Oh, my application is not on NodeMon app. There we go. There we go. Create posts, and this is where it shows. Oh, great. All right. Okay. So, of course, that one says title, but we need to get that label out. and say photo or something like that, or file. We can fix this later, make it look nicer. The most important thing is that we need to make sure that this is working when we, let's say we have some type of picture. Right now, that's my desktop. I don't have any pictures. So I want to get a picture or something or some type of file and put it there. So I'm going to go online and just search for something. Cars. You know, you guys know that I love cars, right? All right. I'm going to tell you a little secret. This is my car right here. One of them. Right here. This little baby right here, but in black. I want this one right here. But anyway, so let's get to it. Sorry about that, guys. So let's just get that picture, use it, right? I like it. And I'm just gonna save it to my desktop. Boom. Okay. So I'm just gonna name it BMW Z4. Pretty cool stuff. And it's hyphen there. Okay. All right. So let's go to our routes post, and the one that creates it is this guy right here. So let's just make sure that we are getting, I'm just gonna comment all this out, and I want to make sure that I'm getting that files array that I told you about. Rec files, like this. That's what we should see. Okay. Now we're not gonna get that unless we have these multi-part stuff here, and type multi-part form data. Okay, make sure you got that. Let's come back here and let's just do that BMW there and submit. That should give me undefined, telling me that it's not working. So let's go back here and let's just make sure that I refresh. There we go. Check all the fields. Let's do that again. And now it looks like the picture is there. And now you can see the image is there. Okay. You see that? That's the image. That's the data of the image. That's why we need to have some special module to kind of decode this image so we can see it. Okay, we can parse that data. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, so now the next step would be to put this in our database, but we need to actually edit our models, make sure that our routes are, you know, detecting if we have a picture or not. There's a couple things that we need to do before we upload. All right, so we're gonna do that in the following lectures. Thank you so much, guys. See you in the next lectures. Welcome back, my dear students. So on the last lecture, we saw how we were able to print out the value of the object of the picture, right, of the file that we uploaded. Well, we didn't upload it. We are actually use the button to kind of put it in a temporary place, right? Because when we do, let's go back here. When we come here and we select a file and put it there, it stays in memory there temporarily until we do something with it, right? So let's start doing something with it. Let's see if we can move that file somewhere. Okay. So in order to move this file, there are a couple things that we need to do. First of all, what I like to do, I like to build a helper function to kind of help us out with checking to see if the file, if this object is empty or not. But we're gonna do that later. Right now, I want to show you how to move it first. So let's come back here, and I want to create some variables. I want to create a variable to hold the object or the file, and it's going to come from the file name. Remember, here we get this big object that has properties, and we can access those properties. Okay, just like objects, it's an object. So this property is going to be file name. Let me see. Actually, no. Let me see. So I get the files, and then I get the name of that file. Okay, that looks like it's about right. Actually, we need the name of this here. So type is file, so that's that. And now we are going to come here and we're going to create another one with the file, and that one is going to be file.name, like this. Okay, so don't get this confused. Now I'm using different. Let's just use a different variable name here. Okay, so basically we are getting this file from the form here, from the variable, right? This is that big object right here, and then we are accessing, we are converting it, well, we are assigning it to a variable called file. So that whole object is there. Then we are accessing the name property here, and we are assigning it to this variable here called file name. And I'm using just the let declarations for variables here. That's the ES6 syntax. Okay. So once I have that, I can go ahead and say file.nv. Remember, this nv is a function that's available right here. Okay, that will allow us to move that file. So I want to move that to the dot, which is this directory, public. Okay, I think that should do it. That's going here. It's going to be the root, then public, and then it uploads like that. And here, what we need to do is we will need to concatenate the file name. Okay, just like that. And now it takes a second parameter, which is going to be a callback function. And this will be just in case it has any errors or anything like that. And we're just going to say if error, then we just throw the arrow here like that. Okay, simple as that. Let's see if this works, if we make it work. So now we don't have anything in the uploads folder here. You see it? It's empty. Let's see if it works. So let's get the browser. Let's refresh this page. Right now, the way we have this set up is that if we don't fill these fields with something, we're going to get some type of error because we have this in the models. Remember, we have that authentication, this require. Okay, so as long as you have that, you cannot leave those fields empty when you are inserting stuff in the database. Okay, but since we're not inserting anything right now, we don't have to worry about it. But later on, we will help authenticate those fields before we put any data in the database. Okay, so we will do some validation. That's what I mean. So let's see if this works. Let's just write this picture will be uploaded, and let's see right there, and then enter. Now this is hanging here because we didn't tell it to redirect or do anything. So if you notice now, the uploads folder has something. Look at that, it has a picture in there. Okay, so we were able to make it work. I hope you see how easy that was. All right, welcome back, my dear students. So we are uploading files. Feel proud of yourself. Really good, really good. So we have this functionality here, but now the next step is to actually put this in the database. So how, right? So before we do that, we need to make sure that our post is actually receiving or has a field to receive that data, right? So I'm just gonna copy body and I'm gonna name it file, okay? Just like that. And it doesn't need to be required. We're gonna do this authentication, this validation. I always confuse that word. Now authentication validation uh, here before we put the data inside the server. Okay, we're gonna do some more validation later on, but right now we're gonna work on creating this function that I want to create just to make sure that um, the field is not empty before we try to process. But before we do that, let's actually uncomment this and let's play around with this. Okay, so we have this functionality here, but we don't want to do any of these things if this is empty. Let's go back here. If this is empty, right? Because we don't want to submit this and have some type of error. So let's build a function, which is probably going to confuse you a little bit, but don't worry about it. I'll show you what this function is. It's going to be a small function. It's empty. And we could make this a helper function, to be honest with you. That way we can use it here, right? So let's just take it back to there. I'm just gonna just put this stuff back here. Let's just create a regular helper. I'm gonna call this upload helper or something like that. So upload helper. Okay, and we're gonna do the same thing we did here. We're gonna do the module exports. Okay, so exports, and we are going to be exporting this guy out. Okay, just like the same thing we did here. All right, so now, well, I don't have the function there. Where it's, there we go. Just gonna take that. Let's come back here. Okay, so I'm just gonna name it is and then let's come back here, and of course we're gonna take some type of object here. Okay, and now let's work on this. So let's create a for loop here, and we're gonna loop in this object. Okay, I'm gonna loop through this object, and we're gonna get that key out, and we're gonna make a condition here, and we're gonna say if this object, and this has property, okay, it's a function that we get out of objects, a built-in function in JavaScript, okay, that we get for objects, okay, and then we're gonna use the key, put it right here, and then basically we're saying if this object has any properties, okay, we return false. Okay, so if he has anything, then we return false. Is empty would be false. Let's just come back here. Great. All right, now let's go back to our post routes. Let's come back here and let's use the structuring to bring that helper out. Okay, so let me see where that is. I think it's two helpers. There we go, and it's upload helper.js. The structuring is going to allow us to bring that is empty out. Let's see if that's the same name we gave it here. Just making sure that that's exactly the same. There we go. Okay, now we can use this to check. So if it's not is empty, okay, we're gonna use this require files, right? Then we can use all this right here that we just created. Pretty cool stuff, right? We don't need this directory for, I was just giving you an example. We don't need to use that, okay? And if that wasn't there, guys, I'm sorry if I didn't. Probably it's a video that I deleted. Um, Basically, I was gonna show you how to create like a directory variable, so you can just make it a little cleaner. If I didn't make that video, don't worry about it. Okay, it's basically something that you should already know how to do this, right? I mean, create a variable somewhere, uh, and just place that in there just to make it cleaner. But we don't really need to do that right now. It's not. It's when we are refactoring our code, refactoring, then we start doing that. But right now, this code looks pretty clean right now, right? So this should work, okay? So just to test it out, let's do a console and let's just comment all this out real quick. Console. So if it's not empty, when a console is not empty, okay? There we go. I'm just gonna put something in there and submit it. Let's go back to our code. Let's go to the terminal, and it says it's not empty. So, all right, so it's not empty. What if we wanted to make it so that it is empty? So let's refresh here and let's submit it. And now if we go back, it says still not, it's not empty. Let's go and check our function here. Oh, I forgot. We need to return true here. Okay, that's why it wasn't working. Let's go back here and let's stop this again. Sorry about that, guys. Let's come here and let's test this both ways. It says it's not empty. Great. Now let's test it the empty way. Enter. And now it says, okay, just double check this again. There we go. Submit it. Oh, okay, it's not submitted, so it's working. We can make an else statement here if you want, just to verify it. So we can just say it's empty, okay? But it was not submitted, so we were not getting anything, so that means it was working. So submit, and now you can see that it says it's empty, okay? So now that's working. Great, good stuff, good stuff. So now we're done with this helper function. I hope you learn a lot by creating this helper function. This is how we do it. Pretty awesome. So we will not submit anything unless we have something there. Okay. So the next step for us would be to start putting this information, this data into the database. Okay. So we're going to do that in the next lecture. Thank you, guys. Welcome back, my dear students. So we are, doing pretty good with our create method here, or create functionality. We are uploading. So it's now time for us to place this in the database. So let's finally do this. Okay, I'm gonna uncomment all this, and we already have the file definition there, right, in our model. All we need to do is put it down here like that, and then we want to get the file name. Okay, now if this is empty, okay, we have an issue because we don't have this file name variable available. So it would be nice if we initialize it at first, and we just say file name here, and we just set it to an empty string or something like that. All right, this is Edwin from the future, my dear students. So I made a little boo-boo here, and I just want to make you aware of it, even though you might see like a little pop-up letting you know about it. If you notice here, I redefined this variable down here. We don't need to do that, okay? If we do that, we're gonna make this a different variable. So that could be a problem. I don't want to redefine that variable. I want to leave it just the way this is, like this, okay? So just make sure that that's what you got. Don't worry about what value you got here. If you got this empty, that's okay. I'm just putting a default value in there just because I want my post to have some type of picture. If you had a placeholder, you would put that there. So sorry for the interruption. And in the future lectures, you will still see this here for a couple more lectures until I fix it, okay? But just I wanted to let you know now to take that off. Thank you, and continue with the lecture. Bye-bye. Or you know what you could do? We could also create like a default image here, okay? So that way at least it gets some type of data in there, okay? We can insert a URL if we want to. I believe, what is the URL that I like to actually use like a generic image. So I'm just gonna use, if it's empty, I'm just gonna use an image that I got here, the only image I got. Okay, I'm just gonna copy the name of that, BMW Z4, and I'm just gonna put it there. For you, I recommend putting like some type of placeholder. Okay, but for me, it's just gonna be the same name, BMW Z4. .jpg, like this. Okay, so let's try to see if this works. Okay, now one thing that I want to do is actually I want to delete any posts that I have created in my Mongo, okay, database. So I'm gonna open another tab, or should I say another shell. So open your terminal to another shell. You see right now this is just that shell is running. So I'm gonna say Mongo, and I'm gonna say use CMS, which is my database, and I want to show the collections, or I'm just gonna say tables. I see the post tables. So I'm gonna say db post drop, and it's true. Now if I say show tables, there are no tables there, or show collections, it's whatever you want. Okay, so I'm just gonna do control C to get out of there because I don't need it anymore. Now I have no posts. We can verify that. If we go here, we see nothing there. So I'm just gonna create my first post in my MacBook Pro. I'm gonna put an image in there, and I'm gonna set that to public, and I'm gonna say this post is public. I'm gonna allow comments too. Submit, and voila. Now one thing that we don't have is the image showing here, which it will be nice to see the image. So we're gonna play around with that. But let's check our database to see if we have any type of data in there, okay? So let's go. I'm gonna go here to the other window for my shell. I'm gonna say, or terminal, Mongo, use CMS, show tables. We see one table there. Now let's inspect it. db posts dot find, like that. And now let's see what we got. And we can see the picture right here. Look at that. Pretty cool stuff, right? All right. So in the next lecture, and I'm going to give you that as a challenge. I want you guys to try to get this image to show here in one of these tables and adjust the image size with a Bootstrap class. Okay, we have done this in some of my other courses. If you have not, go to the Bootstrap website and find some type of class that deals with image sizing, so that way you can fit it in one of these cells. I'm gonna put it between ID and title right here. So I'll see you in the next lecture. Welcome back, my dear students. So we are finally uploading pictures now, or files. We have a little situation here. So I made this my default file name. That's okay. But what happens if I wanted to, let's say somebody else uploads a picture that has the same name? What would happen in that case? Let's go ahead and find out. My second post, and I'm gonna upload the same picture again. I'm just gonna write some gibberish stuff there. Great. I'm not getting anything here. So do you see what happens? Nothing happens. We don't get a new picture here, right? We don't get our function renaming this to like BMW hyphen Z4 hyphen 2. We don't get that functionality. We have to kind of build it ourselves, right? We don't even get a issue. We don't get a problem. I got a console here somewhere, I think. Yeah. This is my, it's connected, and I'm logging that in. But you see what I mean? We don't get any type of issues here with our new post. So what is the solution here? Well, we have to kind of play around with the name of the picture. For example, here where it says file name, maybe we could append something to it so that way every time this is different, right? Every time we move the picture, it has something appended to it. So let's append date now. Let's see how this will look. Okay, simple as that. Now let's try to do this again. I'm gonna create here. I'm gonna write, actually I'm just gonna write something, my third post, and I'm gonna try to upload the same picture again. My description, submit is there, and as you can see, that new picture is there. Let's try to do it again, see what we get. It would be nice if we put some type of hyphen here separating the name, right? But let's do that later. Let's go ahead and try to create another one. My fourth, I don't think that's how you spell it, but anyway, come back here, some gibberish description, and voila. So we got it working. Now let's actually append this to some type of hyphen there, because I think it looks better with hyphen. Okay, let's do it one more time here just to make sure that it's working, and it's working fine. Come back here, voila, and there we go. Now it looks a lot better, don't you think? So now we don't have an issue with, you know, people uploading the same image name and our device here or our application not showing it. Pretty cool stuff. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next lecture. Take care. Now it's time for us to show our pictures, right? We have all these pictures here, but we're not really showing it in our all post page or view. So let's go to admin, post, index. That's where we're showing it. Well, that's where we want to show it. Right here. Inside the post index right here. And we want to do it behind. I said that I wanted to do it between this ID and the title. So I'm just going to do image or file. In this case, it's going to be an image. So source and is in the uploads, right? And then we have the file name. Okay. Let's go back here. Oh, there we go. I forgot to resize it. That's why I said, oh. All right. So that's actually working pretty cool. But the O was for resizing. All right. So image, I think IMG responsive, if I'm not mistaken. Is that going to work? No, that's not going to work. Let's actually go ahead and try to do it, to do the height in 50 pixels. Refresh, and that works. There we go. All right, so there you have it, guys. Hopefully you were able to do it before I did, but this is how we have it working. Pretty cool, right? All right, so now our image is showing. Now we can edit those individual posts, fixing description, enter, and there we go. Okay, that's looking pretty cool, pretty neat. So our application is taking shape. I like the way it's looking so far. I would also like to start creating some type of validation when some of these fields are empty, okay? Because we don't want to create an empty. Right now, this is doing this. You see that? It's hanging there. So we try to submit something empty. We have our backend validation taking place, okay? As you can see, it says path title is required. So that's not going to submit, but that validation is pretty ugly because it's just making the whole application stop. So we need to fix that. In the next lecture, we're going to do some validation, and I just want to show you how to do that. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you in the next lecture. Welcome back, my dear student. This is Edwin from the future. I came back to the course because I noticed that we have a feature that we're missing here, and it's that feature in which I come back here. That feature which deletes the images along with the record from, or the document from the database. So I wanted to actually show you how to do that before you go to the end of the course, because I don't want to just keep adding stuff at the end of the course. So I just came back here and I wanted to show you how to add this. So what I want to do is I want to use the file system, and I already included the file system here. So inside post, of course, inside the route post, let's go to that route. Right here on top, I added fs. That's the file system, and I'm holding that in a variable. And I also have the path right here. Okay, don't worry if your code doesn't look exactly like my code right now, because remember, I'm from the future. I came back to the course. So even if you don't have any some of this uh, requires, do not worry. Just worry about what I'm telling you right now to use. Okay, so right now, in fact, what we're going to be using is just this file system. Okay, because we need to delete a file, and the file system is going to allow us to do that. So instead of coming here and removing a document just by its ID, we're going to go ahead and try to find the document. Find one, right? And then we're going to bring back that document, which is going to be a post, right? Post. And we're going to be using the file system fs to delete the this file. We do that, what I want to do is I want to create a, because when we are deleting images from the file system, we're using the file system, we need to give it exactly the exact path to where that file is located. And that could be very hard depending on where you are in your application. So what I want to do is I want to go to the upload helpers here, and I want to create some type of variable that will allow us to to always have the uploads directory. Okay, so I'm just gonna name this upload directory there, like this, and I'm gonna give it a value. I'm gonna use the, let's go ahead right here, um, let's use the path system, path module, like this, and I'm gonna join. So I'm gonna do path dot join, and I use this method here. And what I want to join, and let me see why this is giving me that. Patterns must be, oh, geez, this is a property. I'm thinking that was a variable, my mistake. It is kind of a variable, it's an attribute, it's a property, but just because it's inside an object, we can't just assign it. We have to give it a calling, of course. So path join, and we have to, what I want to do is I want to use the same method we use for the handlebars in the app.js, and we want to join the directory with, we got to go up a couple times. Let me see. Just one time up, because this here will give me the CMS, I believe the CMS, and then we have to go to public. Hopefully I'm correct. If I'm wrong, we'll fix it. And then uploads, and then /. Okay. So now I have that, and now let's go to post, and I'm going to require that. Actually, right here, I can just put a comma and get that variable out of there. So now I can use it. I'm going to copy that to my clipboard. Okay. So what I want to do here is I want to use a file system, and I want to onLink. I'm going to use this function called onLink. And this is a synchronously function, so we have a callback. Okay. And I want to give it a path. So upload directory plus the post.file. Okay. And like I said, this has a callback here. And I don't know if this accepts promises. I'm just going to be on the safe side here, and I'm going to use a callback. Okay. So if we have an error, then I would still want to do the same thing here. I mean, let's not check for errors, because if we have an error, that means that the image was not found, or post is going to have some type of image, right? We can add more functionality later on, but right now, let's just keep it simple. Okay. So if you have any type of error, it's going to be an object that is going to have like different properties, and you can do a console on this error here, console.log, and you can see all the properties that you can use. But they're just error numbers and things like that. Like maybe the file was not found, or some type of file was not right. But I know that our posts have images, so we don't need that right now. So what I'm gonna do is do this, delete, and now you can see that the picture was removed. Let's go ahead and do another one. You can see that picture was removed. Let's go back here to my uploads, wherever that is. I forgot where I put it. Right here, I only have 2 pictures. Let's do one more. Okay. There we go. There we go. You see the images move. Now, of course, we also want to delete the post. So we're going to say post.remove. Okay. Remove, 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 and voila. That's it. See? Simple. So in this lecture, we learned a lot, right? We created this new property with the uploads directory path, and here we are using the file system to delete that file, right? So I couldn't find a function, to be honest with you. Maybe they have it in the documentation, I missed it. I couldn't find a function that goes with this module here for uploading. So that's why I'm using the file system. Anyway, thank you so much, guys, for watching this lecture. Hopefully you are learning a lot. This is Edwin from the future, and say hi to Edwin from the past for me on the next lectures. Take care, guys.